Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind. The left-wing fantasy is coming to an end. You know, one clip after another, one moment of realization after another. It seems as though more and more young people are waking up, realizing the lies that they've been sold from the popular media, from the mainstream, and of course, the left-wing hegemony on culture. I'm telling you, we're seeing these moments of realization as young people specifically are waking up, and every single one of these videos causes another person to wake up, and then another, and another, and another, and all of a sudden you have a trend. Folks, I think we're seeing a trend. I actually covered a very similar video yesterday. Well, here's another. You know, these young girls, I think, are starting to wake up. The young Gen Z boys have already woken up. We've seen all the numbers, but their female counterparts have bought into all the mainstream narratives. But that might be changing. Today we'll be talking about a 38-year-old woman officially denouncing feminism and claiming that, quote, she was lied to. Let's have a conversation about this. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so let's read the headline here from the New York Post. 38-year-old woman decides she wants a baby and claims that she's been, quote, betrayed by feminism. That end quote right there I think is the most important element. Let's take a look at what this young woman had to say.
I don't consider myself a feminist at all, but it did get me thinking, and I did write an article that I think will come out soon about the downfall of living a selfish, me-focused life, you know? And it does, I mean, for me, it's definitely started to feel hollow and meaningless. And, you know, it's taken me to this point in my life to realize that that's not a life that's going to bring you happiness. I mean, and maybe it does for some people. I honestly have a hard time believing that. If I thought I would spend the rest of my life alone, if I didn't think that I would get married and have children, I would be devastated. So I don't know. It is such a me-focused culture right now. I was constantly fed this idea that women can do everything. We don't really need men. Women can have the great career and have the kids that they like and change the tires and do this. I mean, I grew up thinking, and men are great, but like I can do all the same things. Like I do feel in many ways betrayed by that line of thinking.
And it's funny because I've seen a couple different outlets release pieces on this exact story with this young girl, and almost none of them put that quote in the headline. Quote, betrayed by feminism. Most of the headlines were focused on the concept of finally wanting children. 38-year-old woman regrets not having children. That isn't the story. The story is 38-year-old woman feels betrayed by feminism and a false fantasy that was promoted to her which didn't give her satisfaction or emotional fulfillment. And you know, the story is a little bit fascinating. Apparently, when this young girl was 22 years old, she married a traditional man and moved to a rural community in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, where she grew up. He wanted a simple life with children, home-cooked meals. However, Pursling, despite coming from a religious Christian background, made it clear to her husband, or her husband-to-be rather, that she did not want children. At the time, I felt very strongly that I didn't want children, and that I wasn't going to be a traditional housewife, but rather, she was going to pursue a career. And folks, this is exactly where that brings you. A lot of these young girls don't seem to realize that they have it made, they have it right in front of them. Yet the media and social media seems to be always marketing more to these young girls. It's never enough. Strive and desire for more. But the more you strive, the more you desire, the more you overlook and end up lonely pretty much with nothing. Sticking with a traditional man, marrying young, starting a family, I mean, that seems to me as though it leads to happiness. But so many women fall for the leftist feminist snake oil. They all seem to think that they're too good for the regular traditional guy. They're destined for something greater, whether it's a greater man or a greater career. They end up chasing it and end up pursuing it only to be lonely and sad and regretful. I mean, how many times are we going to see the exact same thing? You have been scammed. These young girls have been scammed into thinking that they don't need no man, that they're going to go to college, study some sort of social degree, and end up multi-millionaire boss babes with a closet full of designer shoes and handbags. That is not the way it works, and even if it was, the idea that you would choose a selfish, materialistic, focused life over building a family, well, it's something I find deeply disturbing. And my thought process here is that women are falling prey to social media. You know, when you're scrolling on TikTok or YouTube Shorts and you see stuff like this,
what would you want his income to be if you're gonna be a stay-at-home mom?
I feel like this is gonna sound bad. I feel like $300,000.
$500,000? Ideally, my husband needs to be making like $650,000.
For you, is how much money do you think a guy should make per year?
Like $1 million, $2 million?
300K.
The picture starts to become quite clear. Young Gen Z women are falling for a marketing scam. They're watching all the celebrities and all the Instagram celebrities, all the YouTubers, all the people with big bucks and lavish lifestyles. That's sort of been normalized, and it's become kind of the standard. We have millions of young girls out here that are ignoring regular guys, regular traditional guys who could actually provide substance to their life. They're ignoring those guys and chasing the flashy Miami dream. My boyfriend needs to make $5 million a year, minimum. It's a ridiculous level of entitlement. Social media is marketing this fast lifestyle, which simply isn't realistic. And honestly, which probably isn't fulfilling at all. You know, rich bachelor guy probably isn't gonna give you what you really want. Sure, your life's gonna be easy, you'll be able to buy a bunch of things, but at the end of the day, you're chasing money rather than connection. And honestly, most disturbingly, people have lost patience. People don't want to put in the work anymore. What a lot of these young girls don't seem to understand is that yes, sometimes you could be a beautiful girl and you get picked up by a guy worth $100 million and boom, your life's easy. Sure, that happens to maybe 0.01% of the population, but for the most part, these girls who are married and in long, loving relationships with extremely wealthy men, or not even extremely wealthy men, but just successful men, a lot of the times those relationships started before the success was even achieved. And that is what has been lost. You have a young 20-year-old guy, let's say, right? Obviously, at that age, chances are that young boy hasn't really accomplished much. It's way too early. Most men reach their financial peak, I think in their 50s and 60s, if I'm not mistaken. We have these young guys with all of this potential, but it's completely overlooked because it's not there in the now. We have a culture that says, I want it and I want it now. I don't want to commit. I don't want to build something. I don't want to support, help start a business, help run a business, help grow a family. I just want everything now. I'm entitled to everything now. I'm 21 years old, but I deserve to live like a 55-year-old retiree living in a private gated golf community. These things are earned. This is what young women need to understand. Getting picked up by a rich guy isn't fulfilling. Meeting a young guy who's intelligent, charismatic, confident, and building a life with that young man and helping him grow into something greater and eventually give you all the dreams that you had, that's where you find fulfillment. Because along the whole journey, you've created an entire legacy and life with that person. That's what's being overlooked. And instead, people are falling for the get-rich-quick schemes, the crypto nonsense and all that. Women are more interested in being groupies for wannabe loser rappers who got all the bling but probably have a net worth of like $25,000. Meanwhile, paying no mind to the decent-looking, normal software engineer guy who's gonna end up a multi-millionaire by the time he's 50 and 60. These kids gotta wake up, stop chasing the superficial, and find something authentic. Because if you don't, you're gonna live to regret it. Just like we continuously see with all of these young girls who are now going as far to say explicitly and directly, quote, I was betrayed by feminism. This liberal secular fantasy that is being sold to you is a lonely and unfulfilling nightmare. It's time to get back to the basics, back to the roots, because clearly, whatever this is, it ain't working. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, friends, and I'll see you on the next one.